Russell Green from the Badlands, the man who fortified his home and abused and juiced Chrome. I will be displaying in this video how I managed to defeat him on a very hard difficulty. Also, I will be going through some side jobs that I used to upgrade myself, the cyberware that I chose, the weapons that I chose, and also the skills and perks. So enough talk and let's get to it. Now, before we continue with the video, I want you guys to take a look at the exclusive body cam footage of the battle between me and Russell Green, our very first encounter. Okay, so now we have the exclusive body cam of the fight with Russell Green. So, upon arrival onto the property, I started to survey, and not realizing that this guy had Militech turrets and drones roaming the property. I then uploaded a virus onto the drone and then placed some well-centered match shots into it. And look who comes zigzagging out of thin air, Russell Green himself, and he was pissed and he was juiced up on Chrome. The guy was wielding a cartridge powered or what it was, I don't know what kind of gun it was, but double barrel shotgun that did a lot of damage. Not to mention he had his turrets flanking me from the top of the roof. I couldn't go anywhere. I didn't have any cover. I was sliding. I tried to place shots with him with my Dying Light pistol with the butter knife on the end of it. Thank you. And none of it worked. Ultimately, I died. But what we can take from this is make sure that you're taking cover, make sure that you're using your Kuroshis and you're surveying your area before you engage. Do not make the same mistake I did because it will cost you dearly. All right, hold on, Hayes, hold on. Those are pretty good tips, but we're gonna need some offensive plays, man. We're gonna need to apply the pressure. So tell us, like, how did you apply the pressure to him, man? Like, what did you do? Well, shit, I had to go see a Ripper doc, of course. I had to get me some Chrome, and also I had to get me some weapons and get my eddies up. So I'm gonna take you guys through some side missions, and I'll be quick and thorough about it. So let's do it. All right, so I decided to take on a small gig. It wasn't nothing too big. It was a search and recover. I had to recover some beta acid, and the location was at the Dewdrop Inn. Apparently, it was a deal gone bad where Ripper was supposed to receive some merchandise, and he got backdoored, so it was my job to go investigate. So that's what I did. So I walk in and I go and talk to the receptionist, and she has no clue what's going on. She's saying that she's filling in or whatever. So I just politely let myself in the back, and boom, I come into contact with an enemy. Like, we're having this stare down, and then he pulls out his gun and I pull out my gun, and then we have a big shootout. As I'm shooting him, I can hear his friends getting ready coming down the hallway. So they're walking in, and as they're walking in, I'm shooting them. Like, we're having a big shootout in this nasty hotel. It's actually pretty fun, but I have to stay focused. And at the same time, I'm picking up weapons. I'm searching these guys because you want to make sure that you get everything. Broken weapons, their weapons that work, everything can be sold. Components can be taken and used for crafting and getting more cyberware and everything. So make sure that you're taking everything off of the enemies. So as I'm continuing the mission and I'm walking deeper into the inn, I come across room 103. As I walk into room 103, I discovered the body of Booker, the guy that was hired to find out what happened to the beta asset. Discovering Booker's body actually completes the optional mission for this mission, so make sure that you go in there and you find him. Now, as I go upstairs, I run into some more enemies. I take those guys out, and as I'm taking them out, I can see in my peripheral the lab because there's enemies bleeding through the door. So as I'm taking those guys out and I go into the lab and I search, I pick up anything that I see that's worth picking up, but really everything is worth picking up. And voila, I see the beta acid container along with some eddies inside the container as well. And for a side note, I want to say that the Tactician shotgun is a very powerful shotgun. I actually got this shotgun doing an Arasaka Tower mission with Jackie Wells. So I want to let you know, definitely keep this in your inventory because it's a very powerful shotgun, at least until you get something stronger. All right, so after I dropped off the beta acid to its rightful owner, it was time to get back to business because keep in mind, the main mission was to take down the cyber psycho, Russell Green. So up until this point, I haven't went and seen a Ripper doc at all. I've really been playing on very hard difficulty with no cyberware upgrades or any. Besides, going to the main mission with Vic. So up until this point, I just been freeballing it. Alright, so now I arrived to the Ripper Doc with no game plan. The only thing I had in my mind was I had to get an advantage over Russell Green. And knowing how quick he was on his feet, I figured the first cyberware I would get was Fortified Ankles. With Fortified Ankles, it gives you the ability to hard charge jump, which is great for creating space, evading bullets, and also getting cover. It also comes with 10 plus carrying capacity and 1% health regeneration bonus. Now the next cyberware that I decided to grab was Blood Pump, and this is a very useful cyberware and I highly recommend it. It instantly restores your health when it drops down to a certain percentage. And that's very useful because you don't have to worry about it or think about it, as long as you got the health item, of course. But I highly recommend that you grab this one because it helped and saved me a lot. Now moving to the next cyberware that I decided to go with. So I did speak on Kiroshis earlier in the video, and I decided to upgrade my Kiroshis to the Stalker Optics. And with this one, it actually highlights enemies behind cover for 13% of your field of vision and up to 23 meters deep. But I really got it because it was a 6 times optical zoom, which is very, very helpful when you need to tag and spot enemies from afar. Now the last cyberware I highly recommend you get is Scarab. With Scarab, you get plus 50 armor and negative 20% movement speed, but only when you're crouched. It also gives you plus 10 carrying capacity and plus 2% grenade recharge speed. Now the reason why I actually recommend this one, because when you're in a gunfight, mostly you're going to be taking cover, you're going to be crouched, and you never know when an enemy's going to creep up behind you, flank you, you're going to get shot from behind, so you want to be protected the best way from all angles. So I highly recommend you grab that as well. Alright, so now I got me some great quality chrome inside of my body, so now I feel like it's time to go pay Russell Green an old visit, so let's go and see him. Now, on my way to go see Russell Green, I did come into an encounter. It was an assault in progress. I believe it pops up randomly on the police scanner. You can go for these missions, and I highly recommend you do, because doing this made me realize that you get a lot of good loot. It was some that I got quick hacks out of and everything. In this particular one, I got a lot of knives. And these are not any, like, you can sell the knives, like some of them were selling for 1,500 eddies and things like that. I even got a throwing knife. These knives were really good, so that made me think like I need to do way more of these types of missions. And I highly recommend that any mission that pops up randomly on the scanner, take that mission, because you're gonna get some good loot. It's gonna be worth it. All right, so now it was time for the moment of truth. It was time to finally take him down. The cyber psycho I've been chasing this whole time. All the work that I put in, will it be worth it? Will I be able to finally take down the famous Russell Green? So arriving to the property, I was already nervous because I was thinking to myself, if I do not get him out of here, what is the plan now? How do I take him down? But I couldn't start having doubts. It was time to go ahead and get to it. Now, I arrived on the property and now I am scoping it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and name 2 things where I messed up. The first time I had messed up was when I made this stupid dumbass jump over the fence and caught my ankle against the barbed wire and busted my leg and head against the rock. So that's the first mistake. And the second mistake is I completely forgot that I had charged jump half of the fight. I didn't start using it again until towards the end. So yeah, I suck for that. All right, so continuing on, I'm scoping out the premises. I'm trying to find out where he is, and he's nowhere in sight. My 3 weapons of choice I have: the Overwatch, the sniper rifle you get from Pan Am doing her mission. I have a throwing knife that I just recently got, and I have a submachine gun. Now, this is something else that I just recently thought of as I was playing. I have an EMP grenade. Now, make sure that you get one, especially if you're going against net runners, because of course it knocks them out and knocks down their power for a little bit. And I happen to find this one, but you can buy them, you can craft them, but make sure that you get you one. Now, as I'm surveying the area, trying to keep a lookout for him, because I have no idea where he is, I started to smell something, and I came across a disturbing discovery. I used my Kiroshis and used my 6 times and zoomed in, and I seen a data pop up of Natasha Green and also Peter Green. I'm not sure who they are, but they have to be some relatives, but they were unresponsive.
So I had to go check them out. Now, I know I wasn't going to get nowhere near those bodies with those drones and those turrets. So I went on and took those guys out. I used my sniper rifle to take out the turret, and I also took out the drones as well. So I decided to go ahead and be stealthy and sneak. I had my knife out because I was going to stab Russell Green in his forehead if he came near me, because I know how crazy and lunatic he was. I really want to take this guy in, but I'm not taking any chances. So as I creep closer and closer, I see their bodies. I started to get that eerie feeling down my spine. I creep up to Natasha Green's body, and I seen a note that says, "Don't come." As I go in to pick up the note, Russell Green emerges and he charges me on full attack mode. He was way more aggressive than the first time I fought him. I don't know what gotten into him. I believe he was way juiced up on chrome this time, and it was no going back for him. And I just want to say this. I really want to say this. If you guys will listen to the whole entire fight, he grunts and moans the entire time. I don't know where that came from. He didn't do this the first 2 times I fought him. I don't know what's going on with him, but he is in agony pain. You can just listen, and it's so hilarious to me. And the fight was on. I decided to use my SMG most of the time with the fight, and it was working very well. It was backing him up, but he was just charging me full on throttle with that shotgun, and it was doing a lot of damage. Luckily, I did have that blood pump with me, and it was just healing me. As long as I had my med kits, it was doing its job. I was also trying my best to make haste of the environment, but my timing was off. I did a little damage when I ignited the propane tank, but make sure that you time it right and you can deal a lot of damage. I didn't do that much damage to him because my timing was off. As the battle ensued, he was definitely losing a lot of health, and I can see I was getting the upper hand of Russell Green in this fight. Using the EMP grenades was definitely keeping him at bay, and then I made an almost fatal mistake. I completely forgot about the landmines that he laid in the entrance of the gate, and I reversed back, stepped into them, and almost blew myself into a taco. It was scary, to be honest. But as I said, that blood pump was just doing its wonders. It was healing me, and all of a sudden I remembered that I can charge jump. So I started charge jumping and evading him as best way I can. As Russell Green's life begins to come to an end, as you can see, he was down to 16% health. Not only did I did bad timing trying to blow up the propane tank near him, I also noticed that I was out of ammo. So I decided to do a quick weapon swap. I went and grabbed my power shotgun and put it into my inventory. But I quickly decided to go ahead and pull out my Overwatch and give it a try. And I seen this guy just do a parkour front flip over the 2 barrels. I thought that was pretty impressive. I'm not even gonna lie. But I know you're probably thinking, well, why didn't you mention the Overwatch? Like, that's a powerful sniper rifle. Well, because it actually doesn't work on him. And I don't know why. I guess he's just so super quick that he dodged the bullets. It was completely pointless. But it was already close to the end of the fight. Russell Green was down to about, I believe, 8% health at this point. So it was near his end. I was getting ready to put him down. I had the shotgun with me, and I was just loading that baby up. And finally, after 2 buckshots to the chest, Russell Green finally brought down. I decided to open the letter that Natasha had left on her body. Apparently, Russell was going crazy. Russell was out of control. He was paranoid. He scared his family. His wife, she was scared to go to sleep, scared to even walk around in the yard because he laid landmines down without telling anybody. His son, scared of his father, the one that he looked up to. Russell was out of control, and ultimately, he was a downfall to himself and his family. Altogether, this was a sad situation, very tragic. I hate that this had to be my very first job. It was tough on my stomach. I don't even think I can sleep tonight. But at least I made Night City a safer place, I hope. I looked inside Russell's garage, and I see that he was a scientist himself. In the garage scientist at that. Had a bunch of chrome, had a bunch of parts and everything in there. He really was a true cyber psycho. He lost his mind. I just really hope that this be the last job where I had to take down somebody, because I really wanted to get him some help, but he didn't want to help himself, and he already had taken out his own family, even if it wasn't on purpose. I just really, really hope that I can rid this city of people like this. And I'm going to keep trying, and I'm going to keep going. And that's the end of the video. And I just want to say thank you so much. If you made it to the end of this video, I really appreciate you. You mean a lot to me if you made it to this video and gave me a chance by watching it. All I ask, if you can give me some feedback, what you think, what can I do better? Is the audio, the visuals, the effects, or the storyline, or whatever I can do better, please drop a comment down below and let me know what I can do so I can improve my videos. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next one, because there are a lot of psychos I need to take out.